flowers, blessing cards and letters. Numerous Hong Kong residents went to police stations in many areas, including the central districts, Kwun Tong and Kwai Chung, to express their gratitude and support to the police for their efforts in handling recent riots.
We are here today to support efforts by the Hong Kong police. If these rioters continue like this, they will bring more chaos to Hong Kong. We've had enough of it. The chaos can't go on in Hong Kong. We grew up here and witnessed its development, so we can't stand to see it like this. We should support the police in taking action as they've worked really hard.
Of course, we need to support our police. Police is a very important part of Hong Kong. We are family. We are here especially to support them, to encourage them. We must support the Hong Kong police to carry out justice rigorously.
The cheering residents also called on others to say thank you whenever they meet police officers. Some are bringing their children along, educating them about the wrong actions of the radical protesters.
The police are doing their job. They are maintaining stability. They work really hard. So I brought my children here to tell them what to do in the future.
Chan's kid has sent a blessing card to Madam Choi, a policewoman, that reads thanks for protecting Hong Kong during the past 2 months.
I feel very happy about that because Hong Kong residents are supporting us. They know we're enforcing the law and they support us. We feel really grateful that many of the Hong Kong people are showing their support for us.
Madam Choi said she and her colleagues on the front line have been working really hard recently and facing shocking and violent behavior. But Choi said they will stay at their job and protect Hong Kong's security and stability.
The police working on the front line face lots of violent actions, but we will remain in our posts to protect Hong Kong.
Some local residents say voicing support for Hong Kong police is also a way to speak for Hong Kong's future. They believe supporting the police conveys not only their confidence in the local law enforcement, but also their confidence in the future.
Apple's iOS and Google's Android. They've long dominated the smartphone operating system landscape. But now enter Harmony OS, Huawei's very own platform designed for developers around the world.
And we in the same time we also support the current ecosystem. The app developer, they developed all the apps on the existing Android, on the existing Linux. They also can running on Huawei, on Huawei's our Harmony OS.
Perhaps what makes Harmony stand out is the fact that it will be open source, aimed at attracting developers. Huawei says the operating system will allow for seamless transition of apps across various devices.
And so why we make it open source, and because we want it to be a global standard, not just Huawei's Harmony OS. It's a worldwide, the global Harmony OS is for everyone.
As for the first device to use the newly unveiled OS, a smart TV developed by Huawei's brand Honor. According to company president George Zhao, the Honor Vision Smart TV is expected to revolutionize not only our viewing experience, but how our devices will be integrated into one hub. At the Huawei Developer Conference, attendees had a first look. Zhao showed off its various functions, including video calls and a seamless transition when it came to mirroring one's smartphone. Going forward, the next generation operating system is set to coexist with other platforms. However, Huawei is confident that their creation is one of a kind.
Firstly, this will coexist with others. And secondly, I believe this has the chance to be the leading OS for the industry for future. Because this really is for the leading technology for the future.
Lekima, this year's ninth typhoon, was also the strongest. It landed in Wenling, Zhejiang on Saturday midnight. Howling wind, blustery shower, huge floods, and devastating landslides. The typhoon hit China's eastern coastal areas, including Shanghai, Jiangsu, and Shandong. More than 3,000 flights from domestic air companies have been cancelled, with hundreds of ferry and rail services suspended. More than 3 million households have experienced the electricity shutdown in the affected areas.
None of the previous typhoons was as strong as this. It should be the strongest over the past 10 years.
The province of Zhejiang is among the hardest hit. More than 700,000 people were relocated as the province raised its emergency response to top level. And work is still going on. Local police, public security officers, and social rescuers are rushing to the scene, saving people in the affected areas and making preparations to protect them from danger.
We have to prevent tourists from going that side because there is strong wind and heavy rain. We are making preparations in advance. The police need to stay here for 24 hours in case any tourists may get hurt.
The typhoon also brings difficulties for reporters who are covering the extreme weather. Despite all difficulties, though, some are still hanging in there, welcoming the challenge.
Tens of thousands of South Koreans have gathered in front of the Japanese embassy here in Seoul to protest Tokyo after Japan imposed trade restrictions on South Korea, then removed Seoul from its list of trusted trading partners. But the issue runs deeper than economic reasons, as they've encompassed more historic grievances that have happened under Japanese colonial rule.
Japan is trying to pressure South Korea economically to make us submit. The citizens know this, so we are fighting against it.
Japan is trying to rewrite history by imposing trade restrictions, after we justly ruled for forced wartime laborers to receive compensation from the Japanese. We have come out to stop them.
Now, while the South Korean government has vowed stern measures against Japan, they've yet to come up with official retaliation measures to actually enforce. That's why South Koreans have started their own protests, the Boycott Japan movement, where they're no longer buying Japanese products and canceling their trips abroad to Japan, because they're arguing that Tokyo is specifically targeting important industries of South Korea as an economic invasion. Last week, organizers said that roughly 15,000 showed up to the protest, but it's expected that over 100,000 will come together on August 15th to mark Korea's liberation of Japan in protest.
Jessica Luis has a burger delivery business called Hambre Feroz, or Ferocious Hunger, here in Mexico's Oaxaca state. She makes monster sandwiches for her hungry customers, and part of her business model dates back to a local custom she saw as a child.
Many years ago, the people from this region served food or wrapped their fresh produce in leaves from banana trees and almond trees. That was a great help, and that's what our project is about.
She's taking that tradition seriously by rejecting commonly used plastic packaging and wrapping her orders in banana leaves and tying them with natural string harvested from the same plant. She's trying to bring awareness to the damage discarded plastic is doing to the environment. Just half an hour from her house, the local indigenous community dumps its trash on the roadside, in part because of the unreliable collection service.
Things get very dirty here when the trash piles up, and that attracts rodents, which in turn attract snakes. And our children play out here in the road, so it makes us scared. So I burn whatever I can, and the rest goes in bags to wait for collection.
Gonzalo Bustillo is the director of the Juchitán Ecological Council. He says plastic has done serious damage to the local environment.
The excessive use of plastic, and particularly single-use plastic, has contaminated our town a great deal, especially the river, open-air dump sites which never existed before. It's done a lot of damage, and not only here, but across the state and across the country.
Jessica says she's already seen a difference with her banana leaves.
When they see that it does work, a lot of people have started to use banana leaves again, and that's great, because you take the old ways and breathe life back into the tradition.
The owners of Hambre Feroz believe that their eco-friendly packaging comes at a critical time. They hope that in addition to providing burgers for their customers, that they are delivering lessons in environmentally conscious business practices as well.